Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, everybody. Good evening. It's so wonderful to be with you on this yet another Monday for men only. Yeah, for men only. Eyamadoda, eyamadoda. Sizodla in isiZulu. This is for men only talk show. As you all know, if you are joining for the first time, let me briefly share with you the For Men Only Talk Show is a space that we created as men for men. Why? Because we live in times when there are so many challenges that are facing men out there, and that there is no space where men can talk about these challenges. We normally criticize men. We talk about toxic masculinities. We talk about negative masculinities, and we never well, I shouldn't say we never. Let me take that back. But there are not many spaces where men can come together as men and talk about the issues that affect men. So this space, my sister, if you happen to be a sister joining us, don't feel offended. It's just for men. Of course, we are not apologetic about being men having our own space, but we just wanted to clarify that no, this is for actually, it's helping us men become better men. It's helping us as men to be responsible men, to build each other so that we can grow mentally, we can grow emotionally, we can grow even financially. Yes, financially. Yes, there's nothing wrong with men making money for themselves and for their families. So we don't play games here. Here we want to see men growing in all areas of their lives, men being able to take care of themselves. As I have said earlier, this is For Men Only Talk Show every Monday at 7:30 p.m. My name is Reverend Tulani Ndlazi, but I'm here as an ordinary man. Yes, I am a pastor. Some of my colleagues who will be coming here to share, there might be people who have been trained as pastors, but this is about men. This is about manhood. It's about masculinities. It's about how do we empower each other as men, as the Bible says, like an iron sharpens another iron. So it's men sharpening another man. So we are here to build each other, support each other, so that we can grow together as men and build a better place for everybody. So one of the organizations that has been spearheading this process is called Heartlines. We have invited Heartlines before. We have invited Ubabu Bonganlungalo Luvalo, the founder of Cool Dads Foundation. And by the way, please support Bonganlungalo. He will be walking from Johannesburg to Durban next month towards the launching of his newly published book called A Father, a Stranger, with a question mark. A Father, a Stranger. It's a book that is reflecting on what it means to be a father. Speaking of fatherhood, we have been engaging with the Heartlines. Heartlines have done something so wonderful. They started a Fathers Matter project some years ago, and recently they produced an anthology of movies. It's about 6 movies that will be shown on SABC2 starting from the 17th of September 2022 at 8:30 p.m. Please, if you have time, join in. Don't miss out. Get busy yes, and have some drinks and whatever you may have, popcorn, hot chocolates. Have it. Watch the movie as families. Watch the movie as friends, so that we can build each other. So tonight I have my brother, Pastor Olefile Masangane, the program manager for Fathers Matter Project at Heartlines. Good evening, my brother. Good evening, my brother Masangane.
Yeah, good evening, Mfundisi. Thank you for having me again on the show. Humble apologies to
I'm not sure if you can hear me, but I can hardly hear you.
you can't hear me.
Change something.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Now I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, no, that's okay. No, everything is fine on my side.
Perfect.
Yeah, Yeah, a very good
Good evening. Good
evening.
evening. How are you doing?
As well, it is well. A very good evening to the viewers of Umalusi. Thank
Mhm,
you so much for having me again. A humble apologies for a no-show last week, and also just a delay tonight.
mhm.
Really, truly apologize for my side. Thank you so
No,
much.
no, no, no problem. No problem. Actually, we do understand that Heartlines is all over the country currently doing wonderful work. We are very impressed and proud of you guys for all that you are doing. So
Sure.
tonight we continue. We continue. We have already reflected on 2 out of 6 movies. So tonight we are reflecting on everything a boy could want. Everything a boy could
Sure.
want, which will premiere on SABC2 on Saturday, the 1st of October 2022 at 8:30 p.m. Everything a Boy Could Want is one of the Heartlines Fathers Matter films being released in 2022 and is in English and Afrikaans. My brother, what can you tell us about this film, All a Boy Could Want?
Well, we all know that the having everything money could buy gives you access. It gives you
Mhm.
options to be able to do many things that one is unable to do in the absence of money.
Yes.
And everything a boy could want is about this father who has money, who
Mhm.
is well off, and can give his son all the nice things of life or in
Mhm.
life. But unfortunately, the boy is crying for much more than that. He's
Mm.
crying for much more than the toys he's getting from his dad.
Mhm.
So everything a boy could want is, it answers that question: is money sufficient?
Mm. Mm.
In in the bringing up of our children, and
Mhm.
I think challenges the stereotypical thinking that when you have money, it answers a lot of, it answers everything in life, and unfortunately it's not so. We've learned from my research that children are crying for much more than that.
Mhm.
They're crying for affection, they're crying for affirmation, they're crying
Mhm.
for presence. And
Mm.
so that's what this short film is about.
Mhm.
I look forward to watching this film. I think
Yeah.
it's going to be one of those films, because I
Yeah.
think even if when you watch other shows like Hip Hop Held,
Mhm.
what are we looking for? We're just
That's how
looking
we look.
for
Yeah.
Baba to come and bring Imali Baba.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
That is all. That all the shows that we're watching on
Mhm.
TV, it's all about. It comes back down to money. But
Yes. Yes.
I think there is something that we are not addressing. The
Mhm.
emotional currency, the sentimental currency,
Mhm.
the affection currency,
Yeah.
the assertiveness, or the affirmation currency
Mhm.
is
Mhm.
what we are deprived of, and children are crying more for that than
Yeah.
just throwing money at every problem we are facing.
Of course, my brothers, before too. We are not gonna go into details about this movie because we don't want to spoil the fun. But what we are doing with these movies, we pick up the theme of the movie and we try and unpack it into our daily lives. So we are hoping that this will inspire more discussions that you will have as a family, with your friends, or as a group of guys. When you finally get to watch these movies. So the other thing, Mfundisi, that you have raised tonight is that you have talking about currency, currents of affection, currents of affirmation, tension. That this movie is highlighting one of those very interesting challenges, where we do have a lot of fathers who
Mm,
cannot provide for their families, right? But
right.
then we also have fathers who
Hmm.
can provide. So you have these two extremes. You have fathers excuse me, as we spoke with the previous discussion, that money, because you don't have money, a father does not have money. Father should never be deprived of access to his children because he
Right.
does not have money. Because being a father cannot be equated to money. Then you have the other extreme now, the extreme of where a father has all the money that one could wish for, but he's not present.
Sure. And that creates a very interesting dynamic there, and challenge, when we confine fatherhood to just monetary value.
Mm-hmm.
So we do need to really ask ourselves some critical questions to say, is this all there is to fatherhood? Is
Mm-hmm.
this all that there is to my contribution as a father of a child?
Mm-hmm.
Or could it be more? Yes, it is important for me to bring the goods. It's
Yeah.
important for me to bring them the money to go and work hard and contribute. But with
Mm-hmm.
unemployment statistics at this at the level they're at, it does create a challenge for many men who are looking for meaningful work but are unable
Mm.
to find work. And you see unemployment statistics are just like keep going higher and higher, and cost of living is high as well. So we are advocating for access to the child beyond the money. Access
Mm-hmm.
to the child is important, is very imperative for that child's development,
Mm-hmm.
and it is also good for the man. It's good for the father of the child.
Mm-hmm.
It does something, and I mean, we can go on and talk about our own experiences of having been there for our children. From the day they're born to their infancy years. Goes without saying that it actually is beneficial for me. I I have learned so much, and I look back and I reminisce about my journey with my children.
Mm.
But having said that, we, we 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 do have these challenges pertaining to money, and I think we need to challenge the status quo that says that, a good father is the one who can afford to buy his children PlayStations
Mm-hmm.
and all the nice
Uh-huh.
latest
Mm-hmm.
latest cell phones in the market. We've got to challenge all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
The value of should not be confined to the gifts and the gadgets we can throw at our children. And
Mm-hmm.
I think we've got to reflect deeply on that as well, to say, what are we losing as we are throwing toys to the
Mm-hmm.
problems that our children are facing. What are we losing? And we're
Yeah.
losing critical development in our children. Before you
Mm.
know it, your children's, the things that are happening in your children, you end up hearing what is happening with your child there in the streets. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
you hear people saying, "Hey, Sbanban is actually
Mm-hmm.
doing this. Oh, by the way, is that your child?" Oh,
Yeah.
and it catches you by surprise. One pastor
Mm.
said, "I don't want to hear that my child has experimented with dangerous drugs in the streets.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I want to
Mm-hmm.
bring those conversations to the table."
Yeah.
you know
Mm-hmm.
so what is important here is for us as fathers to build healthy relationships with our children,
Mm-hmm.
communication skills with our children, because as we do so, we actually teach them to be active citizens in our world, right?
Yeah.
They become critical thinkers. We need to create space in our homes where we can debate matters together
Mm-hmm.
with our children. you know Debate, it shouldn't be the something that is delegated to the English teachers at school. We
Mm-hmm.
need to be able to bring contentious topics and hot potato topics at home, at the
Yeah.
table. If we
Yeah.
don't have those table moments and conversational moments, I think we are depriving our children from developing critical communication skills. So, and interestingly enough, the gadgets we are throwing at our children are actually communication gadgets.
Yeah.
That is the irony. The irony is that the cell phones that we're giving them are communication gadgets, including the PSPs and all the gaming consoles. These are communication gadgets because they're communicating with us. Okay, and they actually television is a communication gadget. So what are we doing? Now we've lost human communication and we've replaced it with gadgets. So we've got a war that we have built between me and you in the home, and it's called a gadget.
Who knows? But somebody might say, Mfundisi, that especially Generation X going downwards. I know that there is even Generation, I believe, Z now who've got children, which is undesirable. But the reality is, from our generation going downwards, there are these challenges. I'm not trying to defend Generation X or generation, even the baby boomers generation for that matter. I'm not trying to defend them, but I always say there are reasons why there are shortcomings with these generations when it comes to matters that matter the most, such as how to be good parents and how to build families and how to build wealth. Because a lot of these generations, if you notice, we have been struggling. We especially Generation X, we are struggling very much to do what is supposed to be something that is expected of us to do, but we can't do it, including but not limited to being good fathers. Now, somebody's gonna say, as a Generation X member, a citizen, I grew up without a father. So I hear people saying fathers must do this, fathers must do that, but how could I have known that how can I know that if I never had a father or my father was an absentee father? Because we know what this movie is highlighting. Actually, this is if you notice, a lot of fathers of Generation X, they were actually not very much present. They were only saved by the absence of social media. Had there been social media in the 70s, a lot of fathers would have failed more than they had already did. So someone might say, yes, in my family, we had a father, but my father was working. He was waking up at 3 a.m., going to work, to catch up a bus at 4 a.m., and he wouldn't come home until 5:30 p.m. By the time he comes back, he's already tired. And if it did not work, then we would have starved in the family. So he was never there for me to. I'm gonna throw another span in the wheel later on by also mentioning the fathers were absent 18 hours a day, Monday to Friday, and then on Saturday they were going to soccer games, and on Sundays they were going to church. So they were not really present in their families, So someone who had a father, but the father was absent for that one reason. There is also another reason. There might be someone who will say, my father existed, but my father was not, he provided everything, but because he never married my mother, so he was never present in my life. How do you, Mfundisi, how would you advise fathers at our age and those who are coming after us, even though they may not have had the presence currency, the affirmation currency, the affection currency? How could they how can they become better fathers? Because I think sometimes Once again, I'm not trying to defend anyone. I'm just saying some of the fathers, they end up buying communication gadgets to keep their children busy because they don't want to be exposed. They feel vulnerable in a sense that they don't think they are well equipped to be fathers to their children.
So it's a difficult question, Mfundisi, because it's not cast in stone, and it's not so straightforward. Because things that contribute to a new father, a young father, or a Gen X to be more responsible or less responsible, are determined by a myriad of factors, not just the fact that they are part of a particular
Yeah.
generation. Because at the end of the day, we all have different experiences in our walk in life. To some of us had the privilege of having, a Mahrotmani who stepped in right in the nick of time. You had your soccer coach or your drama tutor or your teacher at school, or and in a church space, your youth leader or your pastor who stepped in and gave you the attention and the affirmation currencies that your natural father or your biological father wasn't able to give you. So what contributes to that that change in mindset is a myriad of issues, a myriad of things that actually contribute towards that change in attitude. So it's not cut and dry, and it's actually quite dynamic. We can't really pinpoint that is what they need to do. That's what it's difficult
Yeah, yeah.
to you can say, and I think you make a plausible argument around the dynamics that contributed towards men our age, Gen Xers, who are now not so present. Because how can I be present, while I grew up without a present father? And you're asking the impossible here, as I never saw that example being set for me. You can have another extreme case of a guy who grew up with both mother and father being there and so on. But then, everything goes south. We never know what contributes towards those things, and that's why human relationships are very tricky and very uh, v- yeah, yeah. It's like twists and turns.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
There are no guarantees in life.
there are no guarantees.
Yeah,
There are no
you can only
guarantees.
do your best.
You can only do your best, and that's why story is such a beautiful um, gift that humanity has.
Yeah.
Like Dr. Garth Jaffet, the founder of Heartlines, would say, like water is to fish, so is story to human beings.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
a fish needs water to live in. Human
Yeah.
beings, we need story to live in. For
Yeah.
us to live, we need to live in the context of story.
Mm-hmm.
Whether the story is written or the story
Uh,
is told through oral
mm-hmm.
tradition. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so that is why I come alive when I go to the Battle of East Antwerp and I just read about the story of those fathers or those men, those
Yeah.
young men. There is
Mm-hmm.
the most intergenerational story you can ever find of men
Yeah.
who arrived
Mm-hmm.
at that mountain, and they were
Yeah.
able to overcome on that day. So
Mm.
it's a I don't know. It's like a pokey course of different
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
of contributing factors
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
what makes one to be present or to be absent. You
Mm-hmm.
know, yeah. So generational theory will give you its own definitions as to why. Um, I think our generation is also said to be less on saving. Um,
Yeah.
the boomer generation right now
Yeah.
are the ones that are actually retiring young, they've got the money,
Mm.
and they're living
Yeah.
longer. They're living
Yeah.
longer. So,
Yeah.
you know, so even for church, here's
Yeah.
something is a
Yeah.
side note. They say for
Mhm.
church, even for church, those who have still have money to give are those who have
Mhm.
retired. So don't discount.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. Eh? That's true.
they'll,
Yeah.
they'll
Yeah.
keep they'll keep your
Yeah.
ministry going. But
Yeah.
back to fatherhood, yeah, we do need to consider all these factors of this,
Mhm.
and not just take things at face value, you know,
Yeah.
and not just take things at face
Mhm.
value, but to really
Yeah.
just you know, pace ourselves in these things. And for guys out there, um,
Mm.
you know, don't don't base your fathering on what you see on media. And I guess maybe we are
Yeah.
informed by media. We've
Mhm.
watched
Yeah.
too much television. We've watched sitcoms. You know, American sitcoms. They gave us a perfect family.
Mhm.
Huh?
Yeah.
They
The
gave us a
movies.
perfect family. You know, some of us grew up consuming African American culture. We were
Mm.
consuming hip hop culture. We were consuming, you know, that popular culture coming from America,
Mhm.
and their television shows. Could
Yeah.
they have informed how we then carry ourselves
Mhm.
with our children? And we
Yeah.
thought that is the measure of success because we've
Mm.
seen this type of family on
Yeah.
TV, and we
Yeah.
need to mimic that
Mhm.
lifestyle. You know,
Mhm.
our children must have hoverboards because we want to go
Mm.
TV. my
Yeah.
my son must have his PlayStation because
Yeah.
yeah, when TV and all these
Mm.
gadgets, right? I have to go to Disney World. I
Yeah.
have to go to
Yeah.
Disney
Yeah.
World because it's a
Because
bucket
it's
list.
on TV.
It's on
Yeah.
TV. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's
But so what you are saying, Muruti, is that the we as fathers, yes, we some of us may not have had fathers growing up being our role models, showing us what it's like to be a father. However, one, we need to be not to be too hard on ourselves. We need to
mm,
just because there is no one solution fits all. That's number one. Number two, there are no guarantees. You can only do your best, and I
yeah,
always say, do your best and God will do the rest. Do your best and God will do the rest.
yeah,
Even those of us who turned out okay, whether, like you said, whether you had both parents or not, whether your father was present or not.
yeah,
But the good thing is, they did their best, and then the rest was on God. God helped us to become the responsible men that we are today. So whoever is a responsible father out there, we say bravo to you because
mm,
God was good to you. You turned out okay.
mm,
But now, the if someone is because we cannot underestimate the impact of feeling inadequate as a father.
yeah, yeah,
A lot,
yeah,
you just mentioned the movies now. A lot of people, they feel inadequate because they cannot live up to the characters. Unfortunately, the characters
yes,
that they see in
on
movies. You
TV,
see this
yes,
father in the movie.
yeah,
Now they're even so-called reality show, with all due respect to them, where
mm.
we
Oh,
have
awesome,
these fathers,
yeah,
yeah, these fathers, who are like celebrities, but
mm,
nobody pays attention in all the challenges that they go through. I've just heard of some people in these reality shows who were struggling with terminal illnesses, and eventually they were called to higher service. But I don't remember in any of those reality shows showing that side of struggle within the family. That this
yeah,
family actually, besides being a reality celebrity,
yeah,
a reality show celebrity, they have a husband who is dying at home, who needs to be taken care of, and somebody to be there.
sure.
So reality shows are not reality. They are not reflecting real. They're just entertainment. So a lot of guys,
Unfortunately, and
yeah,
unfortunately, Mfundisi, they are scripted.
they are scripted. Yeah, yeah. So a lot of guys out there, they need to know
Mm,
you don't have to live up to the characters you see in movies. You have to be real. You have to be genuine. You have to
right.
live within your means. Which brings me now to another item. the issue of we have had this term being used loosely. A father is a protector. A father is a priest in his family. A father is a provider. When we talk about a father being a provider, and you can't provide the same way as the characters in the movies, and you feel, but I think that's one of the things that makes some fathers feel they are not worthy to be fathers. So they
Sure.
would rather spend more money drinking alcohol, drowning the sense of inferiority complex by
Yeah.
spending time away with friends. How would you say, yeah, yes, I don't know. Is it important to put this pressure on us as fathers to be providers? Because if we don't provide, we are irresponsible. But if we spend so much time providing to a point where we don't have time for families, it also kind of have a side effect.
Yeah. I think we then need to unpack provision
Mm-hmm.
and and maybe give ourselves some time to interrogate what provision means.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if provision to your mind is only providing money,
Mm-hmm.
then your understanding of provision is limited.
Good
You've
Lord.
limited your mind. You know, if I
Mm-hmm.
label something, take for instance this pen.
Mm-hmm.
Once I've labeled it, I stop thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I stop thinking because I've labeled it a pen. I've stopped
Mm-hmm.
thinking. So if I label provision as financial provision,
Mm-hmm.
then I stop thinking beyond finances.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to stretch provision to involve other aspects that I need to provide for my family.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Provide
Mm-hmm.
care, and care is not monetary only.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, obviously, I need to buy those nappies, but I
Mm-hmm.
also need to be present and
Mm-hmm.
love my baby.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, provide affirmation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, sure, we live on affirmation. I don't know about you,
Mm-hmm.
Mfundisi, but I love to be affirmed as a
Mm-hmm.
human being.
Yeah.
And if I don't get a affirmative response to, let's say I've done a talk and I want to get feedback. Yeah, of
Mm-hmm.
course I want constructive feedback, but it's nice to hear an encouragement dropping in in the midst of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
constructive feedback that I
Yes.
would get to say, you need to
Mm-hmm.
improve this, you need to look out for that. But it's nice to hear someone say, I needed to hear that.
Yes. Yeah.
You know? So if we live of that, even as adults,
Mm-hmm.
how much more our children?
How much more the children? Yeah.
Yes. So provision needs to be interrogated. From which comes the noun provider.
Mm-hmm.
And that I mean the song is a love song by Michael Bolton, Baby, I Wanna Be Your Soul Provider. Soul
Mm-hmm.
provision is
Yeah.
not about money.
Yeah.
As you listen to the
Now
song,
you are
it's not
revealing your
about money.
age.
I'm revealing my age. We are allowed for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
I come
Michael
from that
Bolton.
era.
Yes.
I come from
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
era. You know,
No kid.
I mean, that's
No.
Michael
Double
Bolton.
kid sweat. Yeah.
What you sweat in
Ah.
Kumala? Michael Bolton was actually he stretched provision,
Yeah.
to go
Yeah.
beyond
Yeah.
money,
Yeah.
and now he's talking to
Yes.
the woman in his life,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
while Shai is concussing, he went straight to
Yeah.
the heart and said, "Baby, I
Yeah.
want to be your sole provider." Ah, one
Yeah.
win, one miss
Yeah.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
she could not say no,
Yeah.
right?
So,
So how much more our
uh-huh.
children from this? Our children are looking for us to be their sole providers.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah. I want to read a quotation from this book called 365 Things Every Dad Should Know. 365 Things Every Dad Should Know. And I will try and post the details here towards the end. There's a quotation on page 94. This is number 237. Where, they are quoting Jim Valvano, who once said, and I quote, "My father gave me the greatest gift anyone could give another person. He believed in me." End of quote. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's powerful, eh? That's powerful, man. I'm telling you, how many, you know, I do think that, you know, you can have all the money in the world, or you may not have all the money in the world, but as a father, if you can show your child, whether it's a son or a daughter, that you believe in them, I think that will be one of the greatest investments that we can give our children.
Sure. I love Dean Valvano's quote. That is beautiful quote.
Yeah,
Gave me
yeah,
the best gift in the world. He believed
yeah.
in me.
Believed
And
in me.
that is spot on, eh?
Mm-hmm.
That is spot on.
This then
I mean, and nothing wrong with if you have the money, but
yeah.
buy that kid, spoil your children, but
Mm-hmm.
let it
Yeah,
not
yeah.
be let it not be the only way you engage with them.
Yes, yes, yes. So
You
what
know,
we are saying to all fathers, whether you've got money or not, on top of what you can provide for your children,
yeah,
affirm them as a father. Be
yeah,
there to affirm them all the way, because that affirmation will help your children to grow up with self-confidence,
sure,
knowing that no matter what happens, but I know Hello, everybody. We apologize for that disconnection. We are struggling with the power issues, but the show must continue. The show must continue. Sorry, Mfundisi, about that. When on our side, when power get disconnected, you also lose internet on this side. So we apologize about that.
Oh, was it
I hope
power?
you are
Oh,
back.
okay.
You are back. Pastor
I'm back.
Masangane, are you back, my brother?
I'm back. Can you hear
Yes.
me?
Yes, we were about to attack. Uh, Thank you so much. I can hear you. I can hear you say. We were about to attack the Father as a provider. Father, we already spoken about Father as a provider. Now we were going to look at Father as a protector. These are the three terms that get used loosely by many people. Father as a provider, Father as a protector, Father as a priest. When we talk about a father as a protector, what sometimes people think you must have a gun in your house or two guns. Is it really about that kind of protection, or a father who's a protector? His role
Sure.
is it bigger than that?
Sure. Yeah, I think the benchmark for me is what Paul says to his readers in the book of Ephesians, when he says to them, husbands, love your wives. And he's speaking to husbands, of course. I mean, and we can take that and say and take and apply it to husbands, who will be fathers. He says that, love your wives as Christ loved the church, and by giving himself up for her, and dying on the cross and washing her with the water from her word. So we see a lot of good things coming out from Paul's admonition or encouragement, counsel to the men who are reading this text. And what I love about it is that it's giving us something less masculine here.
Yeah.
You say love,
Yeah.
okay, and it's sentimental. It says, love your wives as Christ loved the church. What did he do? Gave himself up for her. It's like, that's not what men have done. I mean, anything to do with Amajita is about conquest. Hmm? It's about being macho. But it says he loved the church to the point of death. Who wants to do that? You know, who wants to do that? So yes, I know it's pivoting into the marriage space, but I feel the very same can be applied to my fathering. You know, I ought to father like, like that. You know, and so as a protector, it's it's less about my muscles and more about my heart. I don't know if you're hearing me and tracking with me in Fundis. It's less about my muscles, but more about my heart. The question is, how much am I loving my children to the point that what?
Because we of this challenge with power. Yeah,
Mm,
thank you so much for that. I think we are forced to bring tonight's tonight. But I believe that those who are joining us on Facebook, welcome. For all those comments that have been posted. And Fundis, I'm going to have to learn something. I'm also noticing there are people who are posting comments that I don't think people are
yeah.
now advertising. They're advertising their businesses on my show. Don't advertise your business on my show without permission.
Oh wow.
So there are people who, yeah, but that's okay. That's okay
Yeah.
as
Well,
long as
you
people,
you will
they
have these
are.
ambushers. you will have people using ambush marketing for this,
Yeah,
and this is
yeah.
quite
Yeah,
objectionable.
that's
So,
okay. As long as people
yeah,
are making a living, that's what is important. But what is important is that, so tonight, what we learned from Pastor Olefile Masangane, mainly about this movie, that this movie, what all everything a boy could want, which will be premiered on SABC 2 on the 1st of October at 8:30 p.m. All the 6 movies will be premiered on SABC 2 on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. So they are all gonna be shown on Saturdays 8:30 p.m. They are all between 24 and 25 minutes. So they are very powerful, strong movies that I encourage all men out there and their families to diarize these days and be part of the show and learn. So obviously in this show, we don't go into details, but we do use the topic or the theme that each movie is covering to generate or inspire a discussion. And most of these discussions, as you have already heard this evening, they are already ongoing discussions. These are discussions that are already taking place, and we thank Heartlines for putting them in a movie, because some of us, like myself, we are visual learners, so we learn faster when we watch movies. We just spoke about how the movie industry has had influence in shaping our our characters, our lifestyles, and how we do things. So watch this movie, Everything a Boy Could Want. It's a powerful movie. It's in both in English and Afrikaans. So you all will enjoy, and I can guarantee you, you will learn something from this movie, or in fact from all of them, from all 6 of them. So tonight we learned that being a father, money. Fathers must make money. Fathers must support their families. Fathers must spoil their children if they can afford it. But if they cannot afford it, don't hold it against them, because circumstances are not the same. We should not be hard on ourselves. So we also learned this evening that yes, money, currency is important, but there are other currencies that are also important in you as a father, playing your role that God has given you, because being a father is a God-given role. It's a responsibility that came from above. So we should not take it lightly. We must take it very serious. Whether you plan to be a father or you became a father before you were ready, it does not matter. You are divinely appointed to be a father to your children. So you must take care of your children. So we spoke about that. There is a currency of affection that a father must always be there, show affection to his children, show that you love them, you care about them. A currency of affirmation that you must affirm your children. We even read the quotation from Jim Valvano, who said, and I quote again, my father gave me the greatest gift anyone could give another person. He believed in me, end of quote. So fathers out there, show your children that you believe in them, show them affirmation, show them that you care, because those are the currencies that you will go a long way in terms of investing in producing, as Pastor Masangane said, producing responsible citizens. That yes, it is important to buy our children all these gadgets, but these gadgets, we must not allow them to to have a louder voice to our children over our voice as fathers. So as fathers, we must maintain our voice, and yet, yes, we must give children these communication cultures, but we should not let the communication cultures over shadow or be louder than our voices, because your children must get direction from you. We were going to touch on on the role of being a priest as a father, but time is we have run out of time, because one of the most important thing of playing that role, of a priestly role as a father, is that, as Pastor Masangan, you should, as a father, you should not hear from the streets what is going on with your children. You must provide emotional and spiritual direction to your children from your home. Even before they get to church, they must have learned to fear God from your household before they go out there to church or mosque or temple, but they must learn from home. So we were going to look at that role, priestly role, from that angle, but unfortunately we have run out of time, and we have experienced some technical challenges, which we hope by next week we would figure out a way of having plan B of avoiding this. But thank you so much, everyone who has joined us this evening, all the men out there on Facebook, YouTube. Thank you so much. Sorry, we haven't figured out how to get Instagram, but we'll share the link on Instagram, because last month we had quite a good following on Instagram, but we are not able to do it live at the moment at the same time, because they won't be able to hear you from this. But we will make a plan for them. Any parting shots from your side before we close?
Yeah, just to say, fathers, your involvement in your child goes just beyond the material things.
Yes.
Your involvement, it is important in as far as your emotional presence is concerned, and give your children that gift, the best gift, which is believing in them, and that's what matters. Thank you so much, please.
And being always there, whether they see you or not. Be like a gangster dad.
Yeah, in fact, this right here is a ministry in Cape Town. It's actually it's a ministry.
It's a ministry.
It's called it's a ministry in Cape Town, and it's run by a wonderful friend, Tim Tucker. And they say, gang is my past, star is my future. Gang is my past, star is my future. And they work with ex-gang members. They work with drug rehabilitation. They're doing incredible work. So I'm wearing it. This is a conversational tool. So if you're still sort of working on some of your scotomas, come and ask the question. Ask the question. What's the story behind this? Gang is my past, star is my future. And it's actually based on Philippians, that verse in Philippians, which says that they will shine like stars in the sky. Because we all have a past. Your past.
We all have a past.
We all have a past. And if you look back at your life, there's no perfection there. There was some naughtiness there. You were a gang, but you're moving towards becoming a star.
Exactly. Maybe we should get him on the show one of these days. What do you think?
One of these days, I think you can. I'll give you his contacts. Tim Tucker will be happy. Or Sean Pretorius will be happy to come and talk about gangster and what's that all about. And they're doing incredible work as social fathers out there, fathering these guys who are coming from gang lifestyles to being rehabilitated and active members of society.
Please share his link with me so that we can also promote his ministry on our platforms. That's what we do here. We promote all good things out there. That's what we promote. Pastor Masangane, thank you so much, and greetings to everyone at Heartlines. We are building up the momentum to the launch of these movies. And yes, everybody, please out there, remember to be good fathers, be a gangster father. Yes, take care of your children. Love your children. Love your children.
Bless
Look after them. Yes, God bless you, brother.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Sure. Yes, bye-bye. God is good, everybody. All the